Zdraví vás, mádrů, dalšího pokračování Vampyra. Nacházíme se ve Whitechapelu. No a musíme zjistit, kdo tady vydírá slečnu Ashbury. Musíme najít a promluvit si s Dáriem Petreskem. Tady jsme měli klučinu.
How are you, boy?
I'm not your boy, all right? Now piss off.
Klasika, ale tady už jiný zjištěníčko asi mít nebudem. S ním jsme vlastně kecali posledně. Stejně tak tady s Benjaminem Palmerem, který má migrénku. Bohužel na něj ještě nemáme, nebo pro něj nemáme žádnej lék. Tudíž nás čeká průzkum Whitechapelu. A jen tak jako mrknu, jo, dejme tomu, to by šlo. Pouzdro na cigárka, prstýnek. Nějaká ta popelnice. Samozřejmě jak jinak, tam se nedostanem. To bychom chtěli moc. Neznámá. Nějaká místní neznámá. Tady asi nejspíš nic nebude už. Dobře, běžíme za ňou.
Good evening, miss.
Good evening, sir. Are you interested in a miraculous cure for this unknown and deadly epidemic?
Actually, I am.
To se
Then
běže
you have
zajímá.
come to the right place. The famous Swanborough cordial is all you need to help keep you in perfect health.
Oh, really? Why didn't I hear about it during my studies? I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Ah, my brother has spoken of your research, sir. I'm Loretta Swanborough, and it's always a pleasure to meet a fellow healer.
Tell me, who intrigues you most in Whitechapel?
The region itself is something to see, but I would say Camellia the mute florist who gives away her flowers.
Ta má kvalitu krve dobrou.
What do you think of the locals?
Most of them are afraid or desperate. They all come to me eventually for my remedy.
Is there anyone I should avoid?
Cadogan Bates, without a doubt. The bloody bastard remorselessly exploits poor migrants as soon as they get here.
Osobní otázky zatím žádné, musíme odemčít.
I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like to talk about competition.
Competition, you say?
Never met her, but it seems she provides some sort of medical care to the poor. The whole thing has to be some sort of scam, if you ask me.
I'd like to see what kind of medicine you're selling.
Swanborough likér. Tento předmět je možné rozložit na komponenty, jo. Tak to nevím, jestli to mám kupovat, ale... Jako něco málo tady má, ale je to drahý. To já to mám vlastně... levnější u mě v nemocnici prozatím. No samozřejmě podle toho, jak jsou zdraví občané a jak je na tom daná čtvrť, tak od toho se pak taky odvíjí ceny v obchodech, jo, takže pokud si udržujete... Pokud si tady udržujete zdravíčko, tak byste měli být v pohodě. Neznámej fešák, jo. Ťuky, ťuky, někdo doma.
What do you want? Leave me alone.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I'm looking for Nurse Dorothy Crane.
There is no Dorothy Crane here. Now goodbye.
I'm afraid this medical leaflet says the opposite, sir.
Really? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to close this door right now. Go bother someone else, Mr. Doctor.
To enter that house, I must discover who this man really is. Maybe I could start by observing what he's up to.
Prošetřete činy Daria Petresky. Voláme se. Ten má bronchitidu.
A strange man was at the door with a pass for our medical facility. I refused him entry.
Darius, how could you know he didn't need our help?
His clothes were too finely tailored to be from Whitechapel.
Perhaps just a friend of that stray poet who is always about.
Richard Nethercott? No, not of the same cloth, this man. I suspect some machination from that journalist.
Clayton Darby. Is he still asking questions?
Yes. I saw him drifting around St. Mary's Church. I swear he is tracking me just downwind.
Darius Petrescu je pravou rukou Dorothy Craneové.
I must talk to that journalist or the poet. They must know about Darius. Nearby the church they just mentioned.
Dobře, poběžíme teda ke kostelu. Já si tuhle čtvrť projdu potom asi mimo kameru, trošku jako podrobně, abych obešel popelnice, bedny a podobně, tím se tady nebudem zdržovat. Spíš se pokusíme tak nějak navázat kontakt s místními obyvateli, něco o nich zjistit a tak dál.
Welcome, sir. Please take a browse of my wares.
I am Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Doctor? Interesting. I'm Barrett Lewis. Usually I don't have time to waste with talk, but at this hour of the night I can hardly refuse.
How is business around here?
Business? I have no business. Between this racket, theft, and customers getting scared, I'm losing money every day.
I see. Sounds like you blame someone in particular for your situation.
It's no secret Joe Peterson spends his time harassing merchants. But with me, he's trying to put me out of business once and for all.
Joe Peterson svým vydíráním dostal Beretta Lewise do těžké finanční situace. Beret je v obtížné finanční situaci, protože ho Joe vydírá. Ale.
As a merchant, you see Whitechapel every day. Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary recently?
What you mean besides the epidemic, the war, and all the usual crap? As long as I can remember, this part of town has been a bottomless pit, and no sign of the bottom yet.
Violence is increasing in the borough.
Yeah. A few nights ago, some blokes jumped me. Came out of one of the condemned workshops. Fever, madness, something like that.
Where did this happen? Why did you go there?
In the closed workshops nearby. I worked there as an apprentice in better days. Now I only go to find trinkets or tools. Too bad I was mugged though. There was good money in that little box of loot I lost.
Šperky a tak dál, nové vyšetřování.
Have you been hurt?
No, but that's only because I ran like hell. Those men were raving lunatics, I tell you. Not even able to speak anymore, just screaming.
Tak to budou skalové. Osobní otázky, na to nemám žádná zjištění.
Have you heard of a nurse called Dorothy Crane?
Nurse Crane? So the bitch really is a nurse then? Always thought she was just some crafty foreigner, that one.
Yes, she's a nurse. And quite a good one. What did she do to gain such notoriety?
Dorothy Crane ain't even a real name. Something like Dorothea Craniu. Something like that. Came to England fleeing the war, I was told.
That doesn't explain why she irritates you so much.
Your precious Nurse Crane gives away medical supplies and prescriptions for free. I offered to sell it for a fair cut, but no. Miss Crane wanted to play the quiet saint.
Dorothy rozdává léky a léčebné preparáty zdarma. Tak to se nedím, že mu to docela vadí.
Right then. Show me what you have.
No, co ty tady máš? Maličkou část dobré rukojeti za 80, wow. Docela drahotka. Ale nemáš tak jako nic, co bych chtěl.
Excuse me, sir. I have a few questions for you.
Another journalist? I didn't answer the first one, so piss off!
I'm not a journalist, I'm a doctor.
A doctor, you say? It's quite a rare breed in this part of town.
Really? But still, here I am. Dr. Jonathan Reed, at your service.
I'm Joe Peterson to some, but Colossus Joe to most. And I don't remember asking for your service, sir.
May I ask what you do around here?
I do whatever I want, and sometimes even more. Now sod off.
According to you, physicians are scarce in this part of town. Why is that?
Not familiar with this neighborhood, are you? I guess your fancy colleagues are too afraid of being stabbed in the back.
This part of town does have quite a reputation. Would you say it's justified?
Totally. Look at me, for instance. I always look my opponent in the eye before knocking him out.
How did you become the local bully everyone is afraid of, Joe?
There's no pride in roughing up poor bastards. But this is the only job I found. And it pays well, too.
A job? So you're racketeering for someone else?
I got enlisted by the Wet Boot Boys, a gang from the docks. I'm their muscle for their dirty work.
Most people don't become thugs when unemployed. This is a choice you made.
I don't care what you think, sir. I do what I have to do for my own reasons, and that's that.
I'm not sure Mr. Lewis would agree with your by all means necessary philosophy, sir.
Oh, do you really think he's the poor victim here? Barrett can be as sneaky as anyone. Long ago, I even called the bastard my best friend.
Ale, Joe a Brad Levis bývali dobří přátelé. Barrett a Joe Peterson bývali dobří přátelé. Další zjištěníčko. A na to, že jsem něco zjistil, nemůžu říct nebo zeptat se víc.
Have you heard of a nurse named Dorothy Crane? She's a colleague of mine and is supposed to live around here.
Dorothy Crane? Yeah, I know her. One of the few good souls who dare to help the sick around here.
Could you please tell me more about her?
She's a nice girl. Tries to help the migrants. I offered to give her a hand, but she said my reputation would attract too much attention.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
Fancy buying something, sir?
You never... Joe Peterson. He's the villain here, isn't he? But you seem to know each other.
I'd known Joe for years. I saw him box once or twice. He was a friend then. But these days, he's just another thug.
What can you tell me about Mr. Peterson? Besides his behavior toward you, obviously.
Colossus Joe was a decent boxer, good one even. But after his wife passed away, he found every excuse to stop training. Just wanted to pick fights with everyone.
Without making excuses for him, it's safe to say that despair can poison even the sanest mind.
We've all had some rough times, ain't we? But most of us don't use our fists to see us through.
And no one has ever stood up to this thug.
Nobody will be fool enough to stand against a wet boot boy.
Takže tady nejde o jednotlivce, ale tím pádem by se postavili celému gangu, že jo?
Goodbye for now, Mr. Lewis.
Tamhle ještě klučina nějaký. Ťuk.
Hello, young man. I'm Dr. Reed, and I would like to ask you a few questions. May I enter, please?
Sorry, no, sir. My father does not like people entering our house, you see.
Your father is worried about you, boy. He asked me to look for you.
So my father actually worries about me then? Okay then. Come on in. I'm Harry, by the way. Is there only pain and suffering in this?
Takže jsme ho trošičku přinutili pomocí našich schopností. Jo, on má vlastně úroveň mysli 1, takže to bylo docela easy. Ale ještě než s ním pokecáme, tak mu tady trošku prošmejdíme barák. Jestli tu nenajdeme nějaký, nevím, dobrůdky, dopisy, co já vím. Tady je to zamčený. Dopis o odmítnutí v zaměstnání. Milý pane Petersne, je mou nemilou povinností vám sdělit, že musíme odmítnout vaši žádost o práci v docích. Musím vám poděkovat za čas, který jste strávil v naší kanceláři popisováním vaší obtížné situace kolem vašeho nemocného chlapce a ztráty vaší milované ženy. Ale je také mou povinností upozornit vás na politiku naší společnosti, která výslovně odsuzuje zaměstnávání byť i bývalých zločinců. Vaše nešťastné kontakty s neblaze proslulými holinkáři jsou nám dobře známé. Jsou to zlé časy, pane, a firma Finch & Harper hodlá nejprve přijmout kandidáty, kteří prošli malým výběrovým řízením a ze kterých učiníme své budoucí zaměstnance. Máte mé nejhlubší sympatie a Bůh budí s vámi i s vaší rodinou, s úctivostí R.D. Harper. Takže Joe kvůli své kriminální minulosti nemohl najít normální zaměstnání. Vida. Ještě tam je jedno zjištěníčko. Někde. Profesionální lovci upírů. Podezíráte-li někoho, že je upír, nikdy se je nepokoušíte zabít sami, nebudete mít šanci, místo toho kontaktujte mě, nebo se pokuste informovat lovce upírů. Těchto mužů a žen není příliš, ale za to vědí, jak se těmto zlým stvůrám postavit. Dokonce se zdá, že jich několik spolupracuje pod názvem Prevenčtí strážní, což je paramilitární organizace zasvěcená vymýcením upírů z Londýna. To jsou vaši přátelé, nejste v tom sami. Řešení existuje, buďte chytří, šiřte tato slova. To je nemilé. Tak, můžeme pokecat s klučinou, konečně.
So, may I ask you a few questions?
I'm not bothered. What could be worse?
How do you feel?
I'm fine. I mean, it's not easy every day, but I'm fine. I'm just tired of being sick all the time. If only I could be tough, like... Well, you know.
Speak.
Harry se těší chatrnému zdraví a je často nemocný, je unavený. S tím bychom mu mohli pomoct.
What can you tell me about your father?
My father is an idiot who makes idiot things. That's all I have to say.
Aha, dobře.
Forgive my bluntness, young man, but you don't seem happy living in Whitechapel.
Why should I? I never wanted to come here in the first place. It was my father's decision. But look around you. Does this look like a nice place to live?
Za prvé, Harry vůbec nechtěl ve Whitechapelu bydlet. A co bude za druhé?
You have a roof over your head, a place to call home. Many people here are not as lucky, you know.
That's exactly what my father says. Harry, you should be grateful for what you've got. But I wasn't even consulted when we moved here.
If life here is so terrible for you, why don't you just leave this place? Have you ever spoken to your father about it?
I don't go outside. It terrifies me so. I went outside once without my father noticing and I saw terrible things. Bloody and frightening things.
So that's why you stay at home all day? For fear of the epidemic?
I'm not afraid of disease or death, Dr. Reed. It's the living I'm afraid of.
Would it ease tensions with your father if he got an honest job? Because he tried, you know.
I can't say. I'd be glad if he dropped his thuggish activities, but I'm not sure it would be enough.
Why is that?
Sometimes I suspect it's me, Dr. Reed. Or it's this life. It's like I can't find my place.
Your father and Mr. Lewis used to be good friends. What happened, Harry?
I was young then. I don't remember Mr. Lewis ever coming back again after my mother died. Or was it after my father started bullying him? I don't know.
Have you tried speaking to Mr. Lewis about it?
I don't go out often, but yes. And he scolded me and told me to leave him alone. I guess my father frightens him too much.
But you are not responsible for your father's actions.
Am I not? Dad always says that he joined that gang for my safety. So if I wasn't born, people wouldn't be worrying about Colossus Joe.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
Yes, I know her. She came here to examine me when I was very sick. She said I should go out more.
Do you need any medical help, young man?
Yes, I do. I feel so tired. I don't know if it's the epidemic, but everything seems so hard.
You'll feel better with this. But you need to get a grip, young man. Medication alone won't cure melancholia.
I'm not sure I'm happy with the idea of living long in a world like this. But I thank you for your concern, sir.
Goodbye, young man. Take care of yourself.
Dobře, Harry se nám léčí.
Suffering in this world.
Vida. No heleme se.
I cannot enter.
Jej, to je škoda. Jdeme tedy za další občankou.
Don't be shy, handsome. What can Christina do for you?
I'm not looking for what you're selling. But I'd like to ask you a few questions, if I may. I'm a doctor. Dr. Reed.
All right then, but be quick. Though I usually get paid when I open my mouth.
Christina, have you been examined? The epidemic is spreading fast in London, and you could be exposed. Or expose others.
I don't like doctors or hospitals, but I don't like you asking questions.
Considering your line of work, I assure you it is only a matter of time before you have health issues.
If it is going to happen, it will happen. Right now, I need money. That's what's important.
You can put your own life in danger, that's your decision. But what about your clients? If you're contaminated, you will put them in danger too.
And you think that would worry me? If you knew the men I deal with, their health would not be what you'd worry about.
Tell me about yourself.
Are you joking with me? People don't usually come to see me for conversation.
I have no interest in your work. I am, however, curious as to what led you into this career.
Short story. The war, exile, and England. This country is not especially welcoming. I've been refused many jobs because of where I am from. I had few options left.
Kristina si nedokázala najít slušné místo, protože byla přistěhovalkyně. A je též unavená, takže paráda. Jako ne, že by to bylo fajn, ale je paráda, že máme lék.
I always thought I was the master of my own fate. But now I know we don't always have control over our lives. I don't judge you.
You know, this money is not only for me. I have good reasons to need this money quickly. But it is not your concern, Doctor.
Tady potřebujeme nějaká zjištěníčka, abych...
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Anything you can tell me about her would be helpful.
I don't know her, but I know her name is Dorothea Crăciunescu. She came from Romania like me and many others.
You seem to respect her.
Dorothea helps the sick people of Whitechapel. Everyone should respect that.
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can.
Dobrá, pak ale vlastně od mladýho jsme zjistili nějaký věci, tak si ještě pokecáme tady s těma dvěma.
What do you want this time?
Jo, je to tak.
Harry doesn't seem happy living in Whitechapel. Why did you make him come here?
I've always put my son's interests above everything else, whatever he may think. Our house is small but affordable. The walls are thin, but the door is solid.
You really love your son, don't you, Mr. Peterson?
He's my pride and joy. Even if he hates me for the choices I make and pushes me buttons more than he should.
Do you have any regrets?
Only one. Not to have my beloved wife by my side. She died when Harry was little. My sweet Jane. She gave the boy confidence.
Since the criminal nature of your job means you could be arrested, are you not afraid of what would happen to your boy if you were?
No one will ever take my son away from me. If that ever occurred, I'd hunt the bastard down and rip off his head with my bare hands.
Why do you keep on working for the gang, Joe? You know it doesn't suit you.
It's true, I hate this job. And I know I made some bad choices, but I'm a wet boot boy now. And people won't forget it.
You could leave tomorrow. Start another life in another town.
That's easy for you to say, Doctor. We are poor. My son's weak, and there's no way he'll endure another disappointment.
Tak, tady už se nic nedozvíme.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
Fancy buying something, sir?
You never lose your... What do you know of Harry Peterson? The boy seems so fragile. Not like his father at all.
Harry's a good boy, but he spends most of his time complaining. He's had it tough, all right, but he needs to grow a pair.
What troubles him exactly?
But despite being his father's son, almost everything, I think. He never wanted to come to Whitechapel in the first place. Hates this place more than most of us.
Goodbye for now.
Dobrá. Koho tady máme dalšího?
Excuse me, sir. Are you familiar with this part of town? Name's Clayton Darby, reporter.
Sorry, I'm new to Whitechapel. But perhaps you could help me since you're a journalist. My name is Jonathan Reed.
Dr. Reed, the famous surgeon. I'll gladly help if I'm able, sir.
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as though none of you care.
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be demoralized by news of deadly diseases.
I served in France. Our top priority must be to put an end to this butchery. This war must stop now.
Sir, streets are a battlefield too. An invisible and untold war is going on, and it must be stopped.
Have you any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs incensed by the fever. Do you think the flu is really responsible for this, Doctor?
I'm convinced there is more at work here than a simple epidemic.
Really? To be honest, I could say the same. Some of the sick I saw or heard of. My God, what happened to them?
What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
Tak někteří jsou přece jenom všímavější a je jim jasný, že vyloženě jenom chřipečka to nebude.
So you risk your life to reveal the truth. I saw many reporters do the same during the war.
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and tragedies. I want people to know them.
Clayton Darby. Clayton chce, aby noviny psali pravdu o situaci ve Whitechapelu. A já jsem nevyléčil tu frajerku, teď si říkám. No jasně no. Taky musím pak dát lék.
That's quite honorable of you. But is the public interested?
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an independent journalist, hoping to sell some stories.
Christina Popper claims she sells her body because she can't find any other work. Do you believe her?
Of course I do. Her story is exactly what I want my readers to understand. We live in an intolerant and divided nation.
Do you think things will ever change, Mr. Darby?
I believe the situation can only improve. And now that women can vote, I'm convinced things will change.
I heard you're investigating an underground medical dispensary in Whitechapel. What do you know about it?
Not much, I'm afraid. They are wary of strangers, and I'm not really an acquaintance of theirs. Why do you care?
I'm afraid one of the nurses from the Pembroke Hospital may be involved with unsavory activities.
Ah, could it be Dorothy Crane?
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist, Mr. Darby. What do you know of her accomplice, a man named Darius?
I don't know much about the man. He's very cautious, never goes out, doesn't seem to have any friends or family.
He has no relatives at all?
No, except for that strange man, a poet named Richard Nethercott, who sometimes comes by. Darius would never let him in.
Where can I find this Mr. Nethercott?
He spends most of his time lurking around Whitechapel, talking to himself or declaring verses. These days, you can usually find him behind the church.
He never goes out?
No. A few days ago, he unexpectedly did. I followed him, but it was just a ruse to keep me away from his house.
Really? How do you know?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting his letter, he ripped it up and threw it away.
Do you need assistance?
That would be nice of you, Doctor. Who knows what I may have caught during my investigation.
If you persist in investigating the most pox-ridden boroughs of London, you must accept the risks.
Thank you, sir.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell.
Teď už teda jenom najít Richarda Nethercotta a otevřít poštovní schránku. Tady je Kristýnka Popová.
Good evening, Christina.
Change your mind, Mr. Reed?
Do you need any assistance, Miss Popper?
It depends on the price of your medicine.
I am shocked that you would think I am that sort of man.
Forgive my suspicion. I'm so used to liars with good manners. Thank you, sir.
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can.
Dobrá, tady máme ještě nějakýho neznámého fešáka, Clayton Darby, toho známe. A nějak tady nikoho jiného nevidím. Obchodník. jako ještě se to tady dá nějakým způsobem proběhnout, no uvidíme. Každopádně, nejspíš první část tady máme hotovou. Ještě tady chybí tak 3, 4, 5 osob, který musím někde najít. Dobře. Takže tady to nejspíš utnem a objevovat Whitechapel budeme zase v příštím díle. Tudíž se s vámi loučíme u dalšího pokračování Whitechapelu. Vampyra se budu těšit. Čau.